Hello and welcome. In this explainer, we are going to dive into something I think a lot of us are looking for, a spiritual path that is genuinely deep, but that doesn't ask us to, quit our jobs and move to a cave. We are going to be looking at a system designed to be a practical map for that exact journey. So, does this sound familiar? You feel this pull towards something more. But you look at your schedule, your responsibilities, your busy life, and you just think, how could I possibly fit that in? Trust me, you are not alone. The real trick is finding a path that has real substance, but is actually built for the world we live in today. And let's be honest, when you do start looking, it gets confusing fast. The world of yoga and meditation can feel like this giant sprawling maze. You hear this advice over here, that advice over there, and they often completely contradict each other. It's overwhelming. So, what if somebody just handed you a map? Well, that map is exactly what we are talking about today. It is a system called Advanced Yoga Practices, or you'll see it called AYP for short. And it's designed from the ground up to be a clear, integrated, and this is key, self-directed guide for your own spiritual journey. Now, the most important word in that whole definition is open. This isn't some rigid, my way or the highway kind of deal. A better way to think about AYP is like a giant toolkit. It gives you a whole set of powerful practices and it shows you how they fit together. But you are always in charge of how to use them. So let's break down what makes this so unique. First, it's integrated. This means all the practices work together, amplifying each other for really balanced results. It's also self-directed, which is huge. You are in the driver's seat. It's designed for modern life, meaning for householders, people with families, jobs, busy lives. And finally, it's time-tested. This isn't some new fad. It's ancient wisdom, just adapted for today. Okay, so that's the philosophy. But how does that actually work? What powers the whole thing? Well, the journey is really driven by a core engine made up of two super powerful practices. Let's start with the first one. This is such a critical distinction, and so many of us are taught that meditation is this battle where you have to force your mind to be empty and wrestle your thoughts into submission. AYP's approach is completely different. It's way more gentle. You use a simple mantra, like the sound I am, as an anchor. You're not fighting thoughts. When you notice you've wandered off, you just gently, effortlessly come back to the mantra. It lets the mind settle down all on its own. All right, part two of the engine is pranayama. And please, don't just think breathing exercises. It's so much more than that. In this system, pranayama is used to systematically clean out and energize your entire nervous system. The whole point is to build what is called ecstatic conductivity. It's kind of like upgrading the wiring in your house so it can handle a much higher, more blissful current of energy. And this is the main pranayama practice right here. It's so simple, but don't let that fool you. You just sit comfortably, and as you breathe in, you imagine tracing a tiny thread of light or energy from the base of your spine all the way up to the point between your eyebrows. Then, as you breathe out, you just trace it all the way back down. That's it. A simple 5 or 10 minutes of this before you meditate, it's a total game changer. Now, Whenever you start working with practices that are this powerful, a really important question comes up. How do you stay safe? How do you make sure the whole process is smooth and, not totally overwhelming? And this is a very real question as you start purifying your nervous system. You can definitely start to feel some pretty intense energy. Things like heat, vibrations, big emotional releases. Sometimes these are called Kundalini symptoms. And while they are signs that things are working, they can also be pretty uncomfortable if they get too strong too fast. This brings us to what might just be the most important, most powerful principle in this entire system. The answer to managing all this isn't to run to some external teacher for every little thing. The answer is found right here in this simple, profound statement. The guru is in you. You already have all the wisdom you need to guide yourself. So, how do you put that inner guru to work? You do it with self-pacing. And this is probably the most crucial skill you'll learn. It just means you pay attention. You notice how you're feeling during the day, not in meditation, but in your actual life. And based on that feedback, you adjust your practice. Maybe you do a little more. Maybe you do a little less. You learn to be your own expert guide. And here's a really practical way to check in. It's a simple checklist. Are you feeling dizzy or irritable? Is your sleep getting messed up? Maybe back off your practice time a little bit. On the other hand, are you feeling more peaceful, more creative, more grounded? That's your green light. See, your daily life becomes the ultimate judge of how your practice is going. Okay, so we've got the map, we've got the engine, we've got the inner compass. So where is this path actually taking us? What's the destination? Well, it's not about checking out of life. It's about checking in a completely new way. The first huge milestone you'll reach is what's called abiding inner silence. Imagine your awareness is like a giant white movie screen, and your life, all your thoughts, feelings, the good stuff, the bad stuff, is the movie played on the screen. This silence is you realizing you're the screen, not the movie. The movie keeps playing, but you remain untouched, still and peaceful behind it all. Now, from that deep foundation of silence, something amazing starts to happen. That ecstatic conductivity we talked about really starts to fire up. A tangible, physical energy of bliss and joy starts to bubble up and flow through the nervous system. And this isn't just some passing mood, it's a permanent feature of your reality. And where does that bliss lead? It culminates in an outpouring of divine love. This is a natural result of experiencing that deep unity. The walls between me and you start to dissolve, and your actions naturally start to flow from a place of wanting to help, wanting to serve, because you see yourself in everyone and in everything. So, putting it all together, the entire journey leads to this incredible state of stillness and action. The goal was never to become a passive monk, sitting on a cushion all day. It's to be fully engaged with life, with your family, your work, your passions, but doing it all from this deep, unshakable foundation of inner peace and joy. And that brings us right back to where we started and leaves us with this one final question to really think about. What if the real key to spiritual transformation isn't about searching for some guru out there, but about finally turning inward and awakening the guru that's been inside you all along. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.